All right, we are joined right now by Director of Investigations for 9 News, Chris Vanderveen. You have been working on this special project for quite some time.
Yeah, let's switch gears a little bit. We were talking about, we want to talk about veterans here and an issue that is very unique. It's a disease known as IBM, that's short for inclusion body myositis. Think of it like ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, only it takes longer for it to take over the body. Now, we've joined with several stations across the U.S. to talk about this disease, IBM, and how a Coloradan is at the center of the fight to get Veterans Administration to officially link it to past military service. Joining me now from Tampa is WTSB investigative reporter Jennifer Titus, who helped lead this team effort. Jen, first of all, tell us what IBM is.
Yeah, just like you said, it's a rare muscle disease, and the best way to describe it is like ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. It just progresses slower. So you're looking at 10 to 20 years. When a veteran first gets diagnosed with this, it takes about 10 years, and they start to lose the ability to use their arms, their legs, and then they just start to need around-the-clock care. They really, Chris, just cannot take care of themselves as this disease progresses.
And it's rare, Jennifer. It's a rare disease, and that's part of the problem, is that it's so rare that it's taken a really long time for the Veterans Administration to really link this to service, which is really critical for veterans. Why is that?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these veterans who have been diagnosed with IBM, there's no family history, there's no genetic markers. They say the only thing that they have in their lifetime that they can relate this to is their military connection, their military service. A lot of the ones that we talk to, they say they were around jet fuels, different chemicals. One guy says that he was working on a boat who just had to scrub the outside of it. So they believe it's that environmental link that connects that IBM to their military service. And that's why they're pushing so hard to get the VA to identify this as a presumptive disease so they can get those benefits that they truly believe that they deserve.
You met a man, you came out here to Colorado not too long ago, you met a man by the name of Jim Cressman, who lives up in Fruita. Tell us about Jim Cressman's story and why it was important for you to come to Colorado to interview Mr. Cressman.
Well, when we first heard about this inclusion body myositis, and we spoke to a few lawyers and a few veterans, they said, if you're going to do this story, you have to interview Jim. He's kind of the ringleader of this entire thing, that for the past 10 years, he's really pushed letters, he's pushed studies, he's pushed anything to get in front of the VA, in front of lawmakers, so that they would recognize this. And literally, Chris, he says every email, every letter he sent, he's gotten no response. And we're finally starting, as this story gets out, as this documentary makes its way across the country, we are finally seeing lawmakers listen to his concerns, and they're finally sending letters in hopes that the VA will change this and make this disease presumptive.
Jennifer, thanks so much for joining us from Tampa. I know you've done a lot of work on this, along with a number of Technic crews from around the country. Job well done, and also, look, this is a special that's meant to be shared. So thank you so much for your work on this. I want to tell you about Diagnosis Denied. Is now streaming on 9 News Plus. It's a half-hour documentary that includes discussions with veterans across the United States and with legislators about potential remedies. We work with our sister stations in Portland, Oregon, Tampa, Jacksonville, and Atlanta. This is a problem. This is also a problem because it's not recognized. But when you see these veterans, they are dealing with very severe limitations. And they also know that this is something that's going to be fatal for them. And they say they're sick of waiting. They want legislators to pay attention now.
Well, absolutely. A lot of work that you guys have been doing, and certainly something that we hope our viewers will be able to take in. Thanks so much for your time, Chris.
You bet.
Appreciate it.